Just give me 1 second here. Let me get. So yeah, today we'll be talking about the services that we provide at Wallbridge Immigration Services, and then we'll move to we have Bobby here from the Passage. Bobby is the Chief Growth Officer of Passage, and the floor will be open to him to talk to us more about the program, the loan program for students, and would have an opportunity to ask questions, and then we take it from there. So if you have questions, you can either type them in the chat box, or you can raise your hand, and we will call you as we move forward. So who we are Wallbridge Immigration Services. We are licensed immigration consultants, licensed by the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants. And we're licensed on behalf of the federal government by the college on behalf of the government of Canada. So we are registered to do the work we do. And when you hire us, or when you use our service, be rest assured that your interest is well protected. The whole point of being regulated is that the interest of the public, it's always protected. So, and we offer a range of services, a range of immigration services, including supporting those who want to travel, who wants to come to Canada as skilled workers, whether you're in skilled trades or you have a skill in a profession that Canada it's currently looking for workers or people. We can help you navigate our system. If you have family members who are here and you would like to join them, we can also support you to navigate that pathway. Most of you who are here today are students or aspiring students or parents of students. We help students with admission process, also with their study permit applications as well as once they get here. And if you are interested in coming to Canada as an investor or for business, we can help you. We can help support that path as well. If you're looking at visiting or coming here for excursion or coming here for holidays, we can support you with that as well as our settlement services. Once you're here and you need to settle, we can support you with that as well. So just so we all know, there are over 80, maybe about 100 different immigration pathways to come here, to come to Canada. We are experienced, we're trained and experienced in how to help you navigate those pathways to make sure that you are aligned with the best pathway that matches your background and qualification, and that will give you a high chance of success. And yeah, so these are some of the services that we provide. But today, our focus is on the students and the study permit and international education. And what we've heard from folks over time is that there are so many people who would like to choose Canada as their destination to study, but what often happens is that they don't have enough financial resources to support their interest in coming here to study. And as we all know, there are also several opportunities here in Canada for you to not only study, but also to gain work experience while studying and after studying. So often, what students often have, the barriers that students often have is is having enough money to be able to do that. And that's why our partner at the Passage are working very hard to solve that problem. And I will leave the floor to Bobby to tell us more about the program that Passage offers and how that would help students to be able to come to Canada to study. Um, yeah, I think I can pass it on to Bobby now. Bobby.
Yes, thank you so much, and thanks everybody for showing up and hearing me out. Yeah, so the team at Passage, we've been in study abroad space for around a decade. We previously built a company called Applyboard. We've helped literally 500,000 to 600,000 students in almost every country around the world studying Canada, US, Australia, UK, Ireland. And while we were building that business, we kept meeting incredible students who unfortunately were from families where they could not come up with the money needed to study abroad. And to us, that just struck us as really dumb. It doesn't make any sense to us why some of the most deserving students weren't able to access the same opportunities as others. And so we decided to leave the business we started and start a new company called Passage that would allow us to bring in all these different pieces to be able to fund people for better opportunities. So what we're starting out with is bringing people around the world into Canada for hand-picked programs that are best aligned with labor shortages and PR pathways in Canada. So over the last few years, as international student numbers have increased, more people have been sold programs that aren't necessarily the best programs, simply because there was demand for it. So we realized that there's a really obvious place to start where in Canada, there are really, really good pathways, and then there are some pathways that aren't good, like you would imagine in your home country. There's obvious good paths that lead to success and bad ones. Because Passage sits in the middle and we put our money where our mouth is, we can only be successful if our students are successful because we're putting the money in the pockets of everybody. So I'm hoping by aligning your incentives with my incentives that I can help people see what pathways give them the best chance for success. So what do? We help you through partners like WorldBridge apply to eligible programs that are at the college level or at the master's level. We get fast LOAs, so we can get letters of acceptance within 10 days, whereas the average is a couple of months. We provide financing that covers the first and second year tuition and the full first year living costs. Finally, after you get your letter of acceptance, we provide you a letter of support that you use as part of your study permit application. That part is really important because you have a letter from a regulated Canadian financial institution that shows that you have more than enough money required to be in Canada on your own. And this is going to give border agents reviewing your application a lot of confidence. That's the high level of it. If I want to nail down the programs a little more specifically, we offer programs in skilled trades, in STEM, this is the science, technology, engineering, math, and healthcare. Why these three buckets? The way that policy is shifting in Canada is the government wants to align international student populations with labor shortages. So these are the types of jobs that Canada as a local population is not being able to get local people to fill. Why? We have an older population and fewer people are having children. And so naturally there's less people to retake the jobs that were taken by my father or people of his age. This is really important for you because it means you're going to have the best possible opportunity to land a good paying job, compete against way less people for those good jobs. And importantly, for some of them like skilled trades, if you get a job for only 6 months, there's a pathway where you can get directly to a PR draw. So essentially just think about these as hand-selected pathways that give you the best chance for success in Canada. maybe one more specific part about the loan and the loan features, and then we can maybe chat more openly if anybody has questions, comments. I'm here for a while, so please don't be shy. So the way that the loan works is it's about access. The access part is, a technical word, but here's what it means. For you to be able to access the opportunity, you need both the money to be able to afford the proof of financial support and the costs to get here, but you also need the trust component of it, which gives you a better chance of getting your visa acceptance rate. Okay, those two pieces are important. Money and trust come together, and it's a huge philosophy, I guess you would say, of how we built the product in the first place. So the product is meant for people like yourselves to give you the best possible chance of getting approved and ultimately be successful once you're in Canada. The way the loan works is you get your letter of acceptance. You then must send cash collateral to Passage. Now, how this happens is the public college we're working with is called George Brown. It's a top 3 college in Canada. On the letter of acceptance they send you, there are specific instructions from George Brown of the specific bank account you have to send the money to. This is like an escrow account that allows us to see that you've put up your financial contribution. Once that is received in that bank account, Passage finalizes the loan. This is where we can give you the letter of support that you're going to use in your study permit application. What we're also going to do is we're going to pay your tuition directly to the school. And then once you're in Canada, we are going to put 1,700 Canadian dollars per month in your bank account for 12 months. This is designed so that when you're here, you have a bit of a buffer. You have some money to be able to pay your accommodation, your food, and basic living expenses. The cash collateral part is a very important part of our loan. It's, in fact, the only reason why we're able to offer this product at all in the first place. There's a reason why this product doesn't exist in the world today, and it's because it's very, very hard to get enough of the different people together to say yes to do it. Schools have to say yes, the government has to say yes, banks have to say yes, and these are all very risk-averse people who don't understand the immigration journey and all of the things that happen along the way. So the cash collateral is essentially a way for us to ensure that we don't get run over by fraud and that genuine students only are working with Passage. Over time, our intent is to keep adding new products and get higher leverage so we can push the cash collateral amount down and even push our interest rates down. So for right now, for a 1 or 2 year program, you're going to need to be able to get together about $9,000 to $14,000 Canadian as the cash collateral. I'm aware that this is not ideal, and trust me, we're working on it, but for right now, this is the best we can do. So what I like to say is for 9 or 14K, you can get access to almost 70,000 Canadian dollars to support your study and life in Canada. Okay, that's the basic overview of everything. I'm sure there's 1,000 questions. There's a kind of a big topic and there's so much to cover. So happy to jump in wherever you think it's useful. So please let me know if you have questions, comments. I'm open for anything.
So one question I have here, Bobby, it's that what is the loan repayment model and options?
The loan is a 7-year term, which means you have 7 years to make payments. The repayment starts 1 month after you start school. So if you start in September, your first payment is due in October. Now, keep in mind, as soon as you get your bank account in Canada, we're sending you $1,700 into a bank account every month. The loan payments are $700 to $850. So the money we're going to send you every month more than covers your early loan repayments. Obviously, if you look at the data, almost 80% of international students get part-time work on campus or around campus once they get here. So the money we are sending you into your bank account every month, more than enough covers while you're getting set up, getting your bearings, and eventually start part-time work. So there should be no major issue in terms of being able to repay. It seems to be working quite well so far.
I'm wondering, let me just check. I think we have some questions in the chat box. So folks, if you have questions for Bobby, please raise your hands
There's
and
one here. I'll just go from the top, and it's
okay.
about how do you do the visitor visa application? So I think that's a question for you.
Yeah, for the visitor visa application, there is a process for it, and it's something that we can discuss with you. So at the end of this program, just before we finish, we will share our link to our assessment form. And when you fill that out, we'll reach out to you and schedule a consultation with you to move forward with that. But that's something that we can easily help you with. Ms. Akinwale, you have a question. Go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Bob, I've listened to you at another forum before, and after that, I checked on Passage's website and found out that the collateral is 20,000 CAD. But here you are mentioning between 9 and 14,000. Can you please throw more light on that?
Yes, very good question. So part of what we are always going to do, first and foremost, I'm a technologist. I like to build things to help people. And so almost nothing you see on Passage will stay the same. I'm always going to keep trying to pushing to offer better programs, more programs, better products. So one of the things that we've done, because we know some of the things happening in countries like Nigeria, for example, with their currency, is we pushed back on regulators and tried to create a new loan that would allow us to reduce the cash collateral amount as low as we could possibly get it. Regulators approved us to change from 20 to between 9 and 14K, depending on the program. So you're right. When we originally launched, it was at 20, and we pushed it down to about 9 to 14K. It's a very good observation.
Thanks for explaining that, Bobby.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It looks like Isaac has a question on what is the age limit for the skilled worker. Technically, this is a pathway for you to pursue studies, which will then lead to good opportunities in terms of work like skilled trades, healthcare, and STEM. There's no age limit, so there's no kind of hard gap on there. The primary thing you need to be aware of is that George Brown only accepts people that have a max study gap of 5 years. So the last legitimate education that you completed must be less than 5 years ago. Whether that's a secondary vocational school, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be within the last 5 years. So that's the hard cutoff. One thing I didn't mention is the interest rate. So our interest rates start at about 11.85% with the minimum cash collateral amount. But if you have more cash collateral, the interest rate goes down as low as 4%. So you can think about it starting around just under 12%, but it goes to as low as 4%.
The question I have here, Bobby, I think you've already answered it, but I think it's just worth mentioning again for those who may miss that part. The question is, are there resources or support services available to assist students with managing their loan obligations during their studies?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. There's going to be a lot more than that. So think about it this way. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but I think this point for us and for you should be really important and one of the things you take away from today's call. Our incentives are the exact same as yours. For me to be successful, I need you to be successful. In fact, every one of you or anyone who goes through Passage that isn't successful, it's going to directly hurt us and the business. So the only way is I win, you win. You lose, I lose. So I need to make sure that you're successful. And that goes beyond helping you to try to find jobs once in Canada, but also relevant, high-paying jobs once you complete school. For the visa-specific components, the folks at WorldBridge can help you out in all the ways, shapes, and forms that you might want. That also goes for the application to the school. You can book an appointment with him. He can help you figure out the right program to apply for, get the documents together, and organize that whole process.
Thank you.
I see a question here that asks, what about the school choice?
Yes.
So I've mentioned it a couple times, but I kind of mentioned this idea about incentives because it's fundamental to everything when you're giving out money. So I mentioned earlier as well that there are really good programs in Canada, and then there are not so good programs in Canada. A lot of the time that it took us to get this thing up and running is for every single program that we said yes to, I reviewed over 10 years of data that looks at every year the international students that graduated the program, how many of them went on to get relevant jobs with good pay, what was the quartile breakdown of those salaries, and the trajectory of those people's careers. Where are they now? Did they get PR? Did they have to go home? Only when a program has shown that it's doing what it's supposed to for its students, educating them, letting them get good relevant jobs and setting them up for PR, do I write a loan for that program. So why did we pick George Brown? In my opinion, George Brown is by far the best college in Canada, period, especially for these three areas of skilled trades, healthcare, and STEM. This is not to say that other colleges are bad. It's just, in my estimation, from looking at the data, I believe George Brown gives students the best chance for success in Canada, especially with the recent policy changes. So right now we are keeping the programs very limited on purpose to make sure that everything is going really smoothly before next year we open it up and offer more schools and more programs. I hope that answers your question.
There's another question there about Bachelor of Technology in Mechanical Engineering.
Yes, that's also a good question, Isaac. So the way that I always recommend it, and I don't know, WorldBridge can jump in and tell me where I'm wrong here. I think of everything in terms of a return on investment. So you have two options, Isaac. You can pursue the master's route, or you can pursue the college route in either STEM or skilled trades. I think there are arguments of why either option can be very good. Let me talk first about the master's option. We offer up to 40K loans for the best of the best master's programs across the country. These programs are very competitive, and so they are not very easy to get into. So as long as you have really good grades, I recommend you at least think about that as an option. The other thing that makes those degrees sometimes more challenging is they're significantly more expensive. So some of these programs are $50,000 to $70,000 for each year. So there's a trade-off, okay? The way to think about college programs, on the other hand, we actually just had a student who was an international student and moved over from a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering at Queen's University to one of the skilled trades program. I believe it was the construction engineering technician. So one of the key ideas I want to leave with you, Isaac, is that when you're thinking about how the labor market and how jobs and the economy work in Canada, you have to remember that things will work different in Canada than wherever you're used to. One key example, in most countries, when you think about how much does someone, an electrician, a plumber, a laborer at a construction site make, These are generally lower paying jobs and they're lower status. In Canada, skilled trades do not have any of those same attributes. They earn above median wages across the country. That means if you lined everybody up, they make in the top 50th percent of incomes. In fact, there are several programs we offer that graduate north of $70,000 to start. And if you're in specific areas, it can be over 100,000. So one of the things I think is a better way to describe skilled trades in Canada, especially the ones that we are offering, is it's more like applied engineering. It's less doing math in a IDE. It's making physical things happening using the knowledge of engineering. So it's not for me to say what your specific interests are or what you should do necessarily, but I would think about it in terms of how much does the program cost? How much am I going to make when I graduate school? And am I set up for PR? There are, in my opinion, much cheaper options than a master's program that you get you to very good jobs and really good chance of PR that I would strongly recommend you considering the 1 or 2 year programs in skilled trades or STEM first. And then if your heart is really set on it, pursue the master's. I hope that helps. Okay, it looks like Juliana has a question. She's a registered general nurse and wants to complete school, I think, next year. Juliana, the only main thing you might need to consider is that if the max study gap you can have is 5 years. If you meet that criteria, in other words, you graduated less than 5 years ago, you're absolutely almost certainly eligible. Is the most popular course we're offering. It helps you get access to a range of healthcare type jobs in Canada, from social work to PSW to early childhood education, even to teaching. Okay, we have another question. I'm an HND holder. Can one get a master's directly or do a post-grad before master's? This is, again, I think maybe if you want to shed more light on that, I can talk about what I see. But do you want to maybe say what is possible? And then we can team up on this one.
No problem. So with HND, I would say based on our experience, you will not be able to get a direct master's program. You will have to do a bridging program, which will be a postgraduate diploma. And what we've also seen, to Bobby's point, is that it's cheaper in the long run to do the 2-year diploma program in areas that Canada really needs folks in the next few years, because that will give you, first of all, your earning income after finishing the education will be almost secured. Your possibility of getting jobs is high, and also it's also going to be a good pathway to securing your PR after. So while doing postgraduate diploma, it's a great thing if that's what you are really interested in. We often advise that you do the 2-year diploma instead, because it's a clearer, easier pathway for you.
Yeah, there's nothing I would disagree with there. I think that's right.
I think there's another question. Can I use HND to apply for 3-year college program? Most college programs are, if you're referring to the college diploma programs, most of them are 2-year programs. Yes, and if you already have HND, you can still apply for a 2-year diploma program. And you can consult with us, and we have counselors that will go through your profile and help you select the best pathway for you.
It looks like there's another question on if someone has a a Bachelor of Science Accounting and some background in computing, what courses can they do in George Brown? We have a lot of really good STEM courses that I think will use your skills that you've learned in accounting and business management, add on the technical skills required to be on the technical side, but are still highly valued by employers as makes you more well-rounded to them, right? You're able to think in terms of the business needs, but also the technology needs. In fact, even the construction engineering technician is about taking all of these different aspects that's required to build really large buildings or infrastructure projects across Canada. That might also be an interesting one. I've had civil engineers switching, I've had accountants or finance or commerce BScs switch into both the skilled trades. One of the courses in healthcare is a health information management. So it's almost more of like a data management, data science type of role within healthcare, or at some of the STEM programs. So I suggest you work with the team at WorldBridge, but I'm pretty confident you'll see some programs that will be exciting.
And just to expand on what Bob was talking about, construction. So Canada, to Bobby's earlier point around where Canada actually needs people, it's projected that Canada will need to build 2.2 million homes between now and 2030, and lots of people will be needed to support those that work. So there is an opportunity for you. We're still a very young country. When you look at it, the population is 40 million. The land size itself, Canada is the second largest country in the world. So there is a lot of opportunity for, in terms of in construction, for example, if that's an area that you are interested in, and there is a lot of possibility of gaining very good employment after your education. So there's a question here about, sorry, 1 second here. Can a BSc midwifery holder pursue certificate in computing analytics and in data science?
Yes. If you have a Bachelor of Science, it will mean that you should meet the minimum math and sometimes physics requirements for those programs. I think the team at WorldBridge can take you through the specific programs, but I can think of probably at least 3 programs that are a fit for what you're describing, the analytics, data science part of the world, where your background will make you eligible. So so is M&E in high demand in Canada? So I believe that's referring to monitoring and evaluation. So this is an area. Is everybody okay with me being blunt and straightforward from the data I've seen? Okay, so this is one of it where I have a controversial opinion. When we were building out which programs we were going to offer loans for, significantly larger number of the master's programs would be qualified. For what I call middle tier masters, something like a master's in public health, top 1, 2, or 3 schools in Canada, like the McGill, I would suggest you avoid that path. For most schools, the math not get particularly great salary. It doesn't open up too easy of a path for permanent residency categories. So I'd say if you can make it into the top of the top, then yes, I still think it is a really good option. But I think if you go below that, it becomes a lot more challenging, especially when you factor in how much more expensive those programs are than other programs. How many? That's an interesting question. So in public health, government, most government jobs in Canada require you to speak French once you get to a certain level. So what master's in something like healthcare management, that is more where you're going to work for the federal or provincial governments, and you'll find it harder to move up the ladder and get better jobs because they'll request you to speak French at some point. So this is another area where I kind of recommend maybe more specific pathways, unless you can get into those top schools. Florence, thank you for the question. It looks like you're asking, you're a registered nurse and have a BSc in ENT. What options do I have? I think there are several options across both the STEM and healthcare that are probably going to be interesting. The behavioral science technician is maybe the most applicable directly, but there are also some health information management, which kind of are somewhere between the STEM and healthcare specific fields. Definitely follow up with the WorldBridge team, and they can take you through program by program and help you. Josephine says, thank you. Thank you, Josephine. It's a pleasure to be here and to help. Emmanuel, you're asking if you have a degree in psychology as well as an MBA with a marketing option. You're also a chartered marketer from SIM UK and a Bachelor of Law. What's the best route for you? Well, it seems like you can do a lot of everything, so it should be very easy for us to help you. I think it's basically just aligning your interests in terms of what kind of work you like doing, where you want to be, and how much you want to prioritize something like a path for PR. So I think there's no shortage of programs that we'll be able to help you out with. So again, I'll give you the same advice. I think follow up with WorldBridge. They'll book a time and they can go program by program, get you a short list, and then you can get your documents together. But yeah, I'm very confident you'll be able to find some good options. Nice. I see the WorldBridge team has posted some links where you can do your assessment, and they'll help you target the specific programs that are best for you. Can I do a 1-year postgrad and a year master's in statistics? So I guess there's two approaches. One is you can go directly to the master's program that's focused on an area like statistics, applied mathematics, or even some of the statistics sides of either healthcare or engineering, or computation. Sorry, there's one more I missed. Or you can do a 1-year postgrad, see how you like it, and then make the switch. I think if your grades are really, really high, the choice is up to you. If your grades are pretty good, I usually suggest the 1-year postgrad program. Get it under your belt, get the experience. It's easier to apply once you're onshore in Canada. And you can get a better sense of what everything is like in Canada to make sure that before you spend more money on a master's, you really are confident with what you're going to go do. Beautiful. Thank you so much for the questions, everybody. These are really, really good questions. I saw the WorldBridge team also posted the midwifery one. So yes, absolutely. I think the Bachelor of Science should have at least the minimum math requirement. So I'm not too worried about them meeting the minimum eligibility requirements.
Perfect.
Okay. One more just came in.
Okay.
You're interested in a healthcare program, but you were denied a visa last year. Yeah, absolutely. You can apply. In fact, I really recommend the product here because the product was designed for people like you to give you as much strength in your application as possible. So hopefully this time you will get a yes in your visa. Sorry, I think I cut you off. Do you want to?
No, that's perfect. I just wanted to say this is our expertise. If you've been denied, all hope is not lost. We are here to help you. So we can still help. Is IELTS a requirement? In most cases, for George Brown, IELTS is not required. If you're applying from Ghana or from Nigeria, where most of our audience today are based. Yeah, so IELTS or the test of English proficiency will not be required for the purpose of your study permit or your letter of acceptance into George Brown College.
On the eligible programs, I can business is not in that list, then unfortunately, no. Hopefully, we can offer it next year. But right now, we are hyper focused on only set of programs for skilled trades, STEM, and healthcare, because they give people the best chance of success in getting good jobs, but also set up for PR. That's really important for us as someone providing the money. So unfortunately, the answer to that question is no.
And Bamidele, we can still, you can do our assessment and chat with us, and we can help you understand the best pathway for you with your interest and what you're really, yeah. So you can reach out to us and we can take that further with you.
Yes, that's a great point. I think the point I guess I'll make again is keep in mind that when you're in your home country, you'll think about what things would be good in your home country, what degrees would lead you to good jobs and everything. And it's not always the same. So I'll be very straightforward about what I think I'm seeing as successful pathways in Canada. But keep in mind, sometimes you might be making your choice based on what you think will be good in Canada because it's good in Ghana or Nigeria. And I urge you to work with the team in WorldBridge who can help you understand what it's like in Canada and what options will best lead you to success here.
How long does the process take before getting to Canada? One thing I would like to emphasize on it's if you're looking at starting in September, which is what this whole conversation and campaign it's about. Yeah, the sooner you reach out to us, the sooner we can start your program, processing your applications, and assured of being here in line for your September intake.
Victoria is asking, she has a degree in accounting and a postgrad in education with some teaching from the British Council and interested in early childhood education. We actually offer a program, Victoria, called Behavioral Science Technician. It is very similar to the early childhood education program, but it has a bit more of a sciencey backed approach to it. So what we find is that people end up in the same kind of jobs as early childhood educators, but they are more highly paid because of the more technical nature of the education. So if you're interested in that program, I really suggest the Behavioral Science Technician. It's a 2-year program, and it's been one of our most successful so far. Grace, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I just want to answer Grace's question. At what point do you come in to support the student? Is it after the student gets admission or you help with the school application? So will support you at WorldBridge, we'll support you through the whole journey. However, there's certain aspect of it that you will be responsible for. But that doesn't mean that we will leave you on your own. If you have questions, if you have if you have questions or you have some barriers that we need to help you overcome, we will work with you through the whole process. But at the end of the day, it's about your application and you own your own application, but we're here to support you. Again, what I would just say is use the assessment form to complete our initial assessment, and we will reach out to you to have a specific consultation with you to understand your unique need and our support for you on your unique needs.
Okay. Well, I think we had some really great questions. So this was awesome. I'm super happy I got the chance to join, and thanks everyone for coming out and asking such good questions. I'm really looking forward to seeing all of your applications and helping you land successfully in Canada.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Bobby, for taking the time to spend this afternoon here in the Toronto area, evening in Ghana and Nigeria. yeah, and thanks to everyone who have been part of this conversation today. Again, we do this every week. Next week, we're hoping to be here again at 1 p.m. Eastern, which will be about 6 p.m. Ghana time and 7 p.m. Nigerian time, I believe. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, so again, you know where to find us. We are available on social. You can find us on Facebook, on X, on LinkedIn, and also on Instagram as well. You can also join our WhatsApp group as well. So we'll continue to stay in touch with you. And if you have further questions, please do not feel shy to reach out to us. Yeah, Bobby, I don't know if you have the last words or
No,
before
I think it's
yeah.
incredible time. I think there are really, really good opportunities right now for all of these three categories. It looks like where PR draws are going are really going to leave people for a really good chance of success. And that makes me really, really happy. I hope all of you have the chance to have an awesome barbecue or something one day. That would be really cool.
Thank you, everyone. And yeah, have a great rest of your evening, day, wherever you are. Bye.